Now let's sum things up. Why do we need ad placements? How do overlaps work? How can you achieve continuous ad delivery? So, placements and overlaps are the first things you should pay attention to if there are any issues in your accounts. The first scenario, our campaigns suddenly stopped working. We're losing impressions, we're losing clicks, or we're getting clicks but no sales. We see that the situation with the campaign has changed dramatically. Second, our campaign isn't launching. We can't get impressions, we can't get clicks. Again, our campaign just isn't working. ACOS suddenly shot out. What's going on? The first thing to look at is who might be interfering with our campaign's performance. What happened? Who could have interfered? And if it's not our competitors who pushed us out of the top search spots, because sometimes it's obvious. Impressions at the top of search disappear because a lot of new competitors have shown up and they're holding the top positions. But here we're talking about our internal situation. In other words, it could be our own campaign that's getting in the way of our performance. And you shouldn't always blame everything on the competition, so we need to check who is overlapping. The first thing we do is download the search terms report. For example, let's say our keyword is bedsheet or garlic press. We download our search terms report from advertising and look at the last 30 days. Ideally, the more data, the better, and see which of our other campaigns are also showing up for our search term. If in the targeting report, you only see the targeting that was actually set up, for example, for the query garlic press, then in the search terms report, you'll have access to customer search terms, all the customer search terms that users are entering. But unfortunately, this will only be the visible part of our listing, our advertising. That is, what comes from the correct placements, what comes as a result of overlaps, we won't see here. But first, let's look at the actual overlaps. For example, this keyword. We want to see which of our campaigns are working for our keyword. I set a filter. That is, I don't show the cluster, just the keyword itself, meaning the text matches exactly. And we see that in 5 different cases, impressions are being pulled in, showing up for search terms. We have 3 exact targets. We see close match and loose match, but in the search terms report, our ads are also running for all possible products that could be there. That's why in the campaign name, if we have the ASI or product name included, and if not, then, for example, we include it in the portfolio so we know which product it is, and we can see which campaigns are showing for this product. We see that the loose campaign is pulling, the close campaign is pulling, they're competing with each other, but in this case, there's no overlap because the impressions are for different products. And in this case, we see that the close match auto campaign and the exact campaign for the same product can compete with each other. Next, these are other products. So we see one overlap. The auto and exact campaigns are working in turn with each other. We need to look at who gets more clicks, who has a better CPC, and who has a better center. Depending on the center, we can understand how much and what kind of placement we have. The higher it is, the closer the placement is to the top. The lower it is, the more likely it is to be a product page. And see which campaign to turn off and which one to leave running. But unfortunately, no campaigns from product targeting are included in this report. That means our campaigns targeting ASNs, as well as our category campaigns, neither substitutes nor complements, may also not provide this information in the search terms report. Therefore, even though we don't see any overlap in the search terms report, we need to go into our product targeting campaigns and check to make sure that the top and rest bids in these campaigns are not higher than the bids in our broad, phrase, or exact campaigns that are targeting this keyword. Or, if we're running an automatic campaign that's close or loose match, we need to make sure again that the top and rest bids in product targeting don't override, because top and rest in product targeting are not our target placements. If the bid there is higher than what we have in broad, phrase, or exact for our keyword, then we need to lower it across all campaigns for this product. In product targeting and substitutes and in complements, we need to lower the bids for top and rest placements so that we eliminate internal competition this way. And once we understand that it's not our own campaigns interfering, then we can use our campaigns in relation to competitors, the remaining campaigns that don't overlap with any others, where none of our other campaigns interfere or take away impressions or ad placements from us. Only then can we move forward with our remaining campaign, making sure that it's being shown continuously and is always visible. Naturally, there's enough budget for it to always be shown, and then we start adjusting its position relative to competitors, higher, lower, wherever it should appear. People always aim for the top of search, but you have to understand that there are products that don't convert in the top of search. In other words, we're not competitive enough to go head to head with the top sellers in the top of search. Sometimes we can actually get the best results in the rest of search. The ads will pay off. They won't be running at a loss. But if we push our product as much as possible and focus all our efforts, our sales, our targets, only on the top of search, that could be a mistake. We always need to check where we perform better with our keyword targeting. It's usually not just rest or just top. It's rarely that clear cut, either top or rest. Amazon doesn't give us all the impressions or the entire share of impressions in the top of search, and the ads rotate. Even if we open the page every time and see our product, that doesn't mean that all the millions of shoppers who search by that keyword always see us too. Amazon rotates the ads in the top of search, and we only get a certain share of impressions. And that's why, very often, when we want to increase sales, we don't need to isolate rest. If it's performing well, we should be showing up both at the top and in rest. And when Amazon isn't showing us at the top, we can get additional impressions at the top of rest. In top of search, you need to make sure your bids are as high as possible so that this rest appears as high as possible on the first page, ideally even in the carousels we talked about. 4 stars and above, frequently bought together. So we can also get into these carousels with rest and make sales there, together with the spots from top of search that also end up in these carousels, which are quite effective. So test different placements as well. Which combination of placements will be the most effective for you? We track impressions, clicks, center, and ACOS. That is, you also track the number of orders. You need to check in which cases your results are the highest and focus on developing the campaigns that deliver those maximum results.